Kris here with Through the Prism of Chrism. It's early in the morning, going to take care of Deb's horses. Keep praying for her. Now, we only got a couple more messages on our series, Be Healed. And today, in Matthew chapter 21 and verse 14, it says that the blind and the lame came to him, to Jesus in the temple, and he healed them. So I want to talk about healing in the temple. You know, your church ought to be a place where people can come and get healed. Now, they weren't actually in the priestly courts of the temple. They came out into the porches and into the outer courts. But people came because they thought, if there's anywhere where I ought to be able to find hope and find help, it ought to be with those people who have a straight line to heaven. So healing in the temple, let's talk about it. Number one, healing is one of the main businesses of the church. When Jesus came, he preached the gospel of the kingdom, taught the people, and healed those that needed healing. So he was teaching and preaching and reaching. Healing is the church's business. In James 5 and 14, the elders of the church are to be able to anoint with oil. Actually, this is like a sacrament. Anoint with oil, and the prayer of faith shall save the sick. But we've come so short of it. If there's hard cases today, we send them off to the professionals. Marriage problems, we send them to a marriage counselor. We send people off to a shrink or a psychologist or a therapist or whoever. We send them to the professionals. Hey, the opposite of professional is amateur. I want to ask, is the church become amateurish, or are we not the true professionals in the earth? Second, healing flies in on the wings of praise. When you read Matthew chapter 21, you'll notice it's bathed with praise. Jesus is riding in on a donkey. People are waving palm branches out of the mouths of babes and sucklings. He's perfected praise. They're praising God. In fact, the Pharisees didn't like it. They said, "Master, shut them up. They're getting too loud." And Jesus said, "If these don't praise me, the rocks will immediately cry out." You know, Psalm 22 and 3, God inhabits the praises of Israel. And what man inhibits, God inhabits. And if you want healing, it's in an atmosphere of praise. Number three, enough of these blind guides and lame excuses. What do you mean? It says the blind and the lame came to the temple and he healed them. You know, there's not only natural blindness, there's spiritual blindness. You can find a new set of eyes at church, having eyes to see and seeing not. And far as lame goes, I've heard of a lame duck, lame excuse, lame-brained, physically lame jokes. Well, God heals the blind and he heals the lame. And I notice here in Acts chapter 3, there was a lame man laid at the temple gate. Well, he would have been there at that scene in Matthew 21 and 14. But Jesus healed all the lame people, but he didn't heal that lame man. Why is that? Because he left a work for you and I to do. We're to heal the lame just as he did. And then number four, if you don't come in, you'll never be able to go out. It says they came to him in the temple. You can't just sit on the rocking chair. You need to come. Now listen, blind and lame is a little bit difficult task for a blind man to come. He's got to feel his way. Or a lame man to come. He's got to crawl. Now it doesn't say, in this text anyway, that they brought these people. It says they came to him. And now if a lame and a blind person can come, you have no excuse but to get up off that chair and find your way to the house of God. How can we call ourselves the church if we don't go to church? And then number five, the attraction is always him. It says they came to him in the temple. Unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly, that I might know him in the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings. The object is him. Some people come to be razzle-dazzled. Some come to see the show. Some come to hear a sermon rather than hear him. But the lame and blind came to see him. And then number six, it's supposed to be a sanctuary, not a mortuary. You don't come to be embalmed, you come to be anointed. And when I say sanctuary, it's like a wildlife sanctuary with a sign on it that says poachers will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Listen, this is a refuge, this is a safe place, this is a healing place. And number seven, whenever the gospel says them, it means all of them. And he healed them. Says the same thing in Luke 9 and 11. This is a good 9:1 verse. He spake unto them the kingdom of God and healed them that had need of healing. Listen, are you one of them? Then go to church. Let people lay hands on you and he can heal in the temple. Thanks for being with us. Like if you like, share this with a friend. I'm going to go take care of Deb's minis, her little miniature horses, and I'll see you tomorrow with more on Through the Prism of Chrism.